All right, so let's see if the audio is okay. Yeah. How's it going, everyone? I hope you all are doing great. I am Dork Radu, and I am back with another daily analysis, as always, starting off with the Forex analysis. And to be more exact, I will start off with Euro USD, where we have a bullish opportunity. Right here, we can clearly see that we have a continuation of this overall uptrend with this bullish push that broke structure right here and took price higher. After the break, we can see that imbalance was left behind because I was able to identify this unmitigated order block that is lining up perfectly with the discounted area of this bullish range. 4 hour is bullish on the graph, and we can see that so far the pullback has been very nice and corrective, hence why this is a valid setup that we can take. GBP/USD provided a bearish opportunity. Right here we can see that we broke structure to the downside with this bearish leg. After the break, we can see that imbalance was left behind because I was able to identify this fair value gap lining up with the premium area of this bearish range. And now we can see that the pullback has also been pretty corrective so far, which is exactly what we want. CHF/JPY with another bearish opportunity. Right here we can see we have a continuation of this downwards push with this break of structure to the downside that left imbalance behind, because we can clearly see that we have this unmitigated order block lining up perfectly with the premium area of this bearish range. Daily and 4 hour are both bearish on the graph as well, and so far the pullback has also been very nice and corrective, which is exactly what we want. Or JPY with another bearish opportunity. We broke out of this sideways phase right here with this bearish leg. Very impulsive and good looking, as we can see. Imbalance was swept beforehand as well, which is a great added confidence. Right here after the break, very clear to see that imbalance was left behind. We were able to identify this unmitigated order block lining up with this bearish trader order block, and they are both lining up perfectly with the premium area of this bearish range. 4 hour is bearish on the graph, and so far we can see that the pullback has been very nice and corrective. GBP/AUD with a bearish opportunity. Right here we can see we have a bearish shift in momentum. We swept liquidity, and immediately after that we broke structure to the downside very impulsively. Once again, after a break, imbalance was left behind. I was able to identify this unmitigated order block lining up with this bearish trader order block, and they are both lining up perfectly with the point of interest. 4 hour is bearish on the graph, and the pullback so far has been very corrective because it's very clear to see that the bearish pressure is still on. On USD/CHF, we have another bearish opportunity. Right here we broke structure very impulsively to the downside. We broke multiple lows, which is a great added confidence. After the break, I was able to identify this good looking fair value gap that is lining up perfectly with the point of interest. 4 hour is bearish on the graph. Right on top of the fair value gap, we also have a bearish trader order block, which is a great added confidence. And so far we can see that the pullback has been very nice and corrective, which is exactly what we want. USD CAD with another bearish opportunity looking pretty similar to USD/CHF. We swept liquidity, and immediately after that we broke structure very impulsively with this bearish leg. Once again we broke multiple lows, okay, with this push right here. After the break, very clear to see that imbalance was left behind. I was able to identify this fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest. 4 hour is bearish on the graph. We also have this bearish trader order block lining up with the premium area of this bearish range. And we can also see that the pullback has been pretty nice and corrective so far. Okay. Odd CHF with a bullish opportunity. Right here we can see that we swept liquidity, and immediately after that we broke structure very impulsively to the upside, continuing this overall uptrend. After the break, we can see that imbalance was left behind. I was able to identify this fair value gap that is lining up perfectly with the point of interest. Daily and 4 hour are both bullish on the trader graph, and all I want to wait for now is a continuation of this corrective pullback, okay, because so far it is looking very, very nice. Euro JPY with a bearish opportunity. Right here we can see that we broke structure to the downside with this bearish leg that left imbalance behind, because I was able to identify this fair value gap that is lining up perfectly with the point of interest. Right on top of it, we have a bearish trader order block as well. The 4 hour is bearish on the graph, and so far the pullback has been pretty nice and corrective. So yeah, it's meeting all of our rules, which is exactly what we want. On USD with a bullish opportunity. Right here we can see that we swept liquidity, and immediately after that we broke structure to the upside very, very impulsively with this bullish leg. After the break, very clearly see that imbalance was left behind. We have this fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest. The 4 hour is bullish on the graph, and so far the pullback has also been very nice and corrective. Odd CAD with another bullish opportunity. Right here we broke structure super impulsively with this bullish leg, and we can see that we broke multiple highs, which is a great added confluence. Once again, after the break, imbalance was left behind because I was able to identify this unmitigated order block that, as we can see, is lining up perfectly with this bullish trader order block, and they are both lining up with the discounted area of this bullish range. Daily and 4 hour are both bullish on the graph, and the pullback so far has been also pretty corrective, which is exactly what we want. NZD USD with another bullish opportunity. Right here we swept liquidity, and immediately after that we went straight to the upside with this very impulsive bullish leg. Okay, as we can see, momentum is clearly to the upside. After the break, I was able to identify this fair value gap that is lining up perfectly with the point of interest. And right below it, we also have a bullish trader order block that is lining up with the point of interest, which is a great added confluence. Daily and 4 hour are both bullish on the trader graph, and so far we can see that the pullback has also been pretty corrective, which is exactly what we want. Okay, a lot of potential setups we have. I was able to identify today. USD JPY with a bullish opportunity. Right here we broke structure very impulsively with this bullish push, and the reason I decided to consider this setup is because we have a lot of imbalance here that could be filled. Okay, daily is also bullish on the graph. I was able to identify this unmitigated order block lining up perfectly with the point of interest, and so far we can see that the pullback is pretty corrective, which is exactly what we want. Okay, and yeah, on that note, we'll end today's Forex analysis right here. And as always, if there's any other questions, you should reach out on Discord. Now I will go over today's metals analysis, starting off with gold, where I wasn't able to identify a setup. Hence why we'll just keep it simple. And as I always say, whenever I don't find a setup on a specific asset, I'm just going to wait for the price to develop some fresh structure, and from there we will recalibrate and potentially identify a new setup. Okay, on silver though, we have a bullish opportunity. Okay, so right here we have a continuation of this overall upwards push. We broke structure right here impulsively with this bullish leg. After the break, we can see that imbalance was left behind. I was able to identify this small fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest. Daily and 4 hour are both bullish on the graph, which is a great added confluence. And the pullback has also been very nice and corrective. So yeah, this is definitely a valid setup on silver. And yeah, on that note, we'll end today's metals analysis right here. And as always, if there's any further questions, you should reach out on Discord. And now I will go over today's indices analysis, as always, starting off with US 30. On US 30, I couldn't identify anything, okay? There's no clear range yet. I'm just gonna wait for the price to develop some fresh structure, and from there, we could potentially look for a new setup. On SPX though, we had a very beautiful setup playing out. I would say this is the setup of the week so far, and why not do a trade breakdown on it. Okay, so right here is when I decided to send this setup. What did I see? Okay, so First things first, I saw that the price was overall bullish, okay, which was good because that meant that we were trading with the trend, okay. And right here, I saw a continuation of this bullish trend. I saw a continuation of this bullish trend with this impulsive break towards the upside, okay, that took price higher and left imbalance behind. Because as we can clearly see, I was able to identify this unmitigated order block that was lining up with this bullish trader order block, and they were both lining up perfectly with the discounted area of this bullish range. Daily and 4-hour were both bullish on the trader graph, and now the last thing that I was waiting for was a corrective pullback. Okay, so as we can see here, the pullback hasn't been the most corrective one, but it hasn't been pretty aggressive either. Okay, why? Because of these wicks. These wicks signaled that the pullback hasn't been that aggressive. Okay, boom, right here, entry number 1 was already triggered. Then price went into some drawdown, triggered entry number 2 as well. And from there, price went into some deeper drawdown, okay, finding some liquidity. And after that, we can see that it had a super beautiful sniper reaction, went straight into profit, TP1 smashed, then TP2, and eventually the final take profit on both of our entries. Okay, so this was a very, very beautiful setup on SPX that played out perfectly. And yeah, this was a quick breakdown. I hope y'all understood why I took this setup. Okay. Next up, we have NAS 100, and on NAS 100, same as on US 30. Right now, I wasn't able to identify a new setup, hence why we won't waste any time on it. We'll just leave the chart as is, and we'll move on to our next asset. And yeah, on that note, we'll end today's indices analysis right here. As always, if there's any other questions, you should reach out on Discord. And lastly, I will go over today's crypto analysis, starting off with Bitcoin, where I currently don't see anything. Okay, yes, the price is very bullish, and I would be happy to look for a bullish setup, but currently I do not see any setups, okay, on Bitcoin. Hence why we'll just save the chart as is and move on to the next coin, which is Ethereum. On Ethereum, same exact story, price looking very similar to the Bitcoin price. We can see that price is very bullish, but I do not see a clear range that we could trade. Hence why I'm just going to keep it simple, and I'm just going to wait for some fresh structure to develop before scouting for a new setup over there. On Dogecoin though, I was able to identify a bullish opportunity. So right here we can see that we broke structure pretty impulsively with this bullish leg. And we can see that after the break, I was able to identify this unmitigated order block lining up with the point of interest. Daily and 4-hour are both bullish on the trader graph, and the pullback has been very, very nice and corrective, which is exactly what we want. And that's exactly why this is a valid setup. Next up, we have XRP with a bullish opportunity. As we can see, we broke structure to the upside, taking price higher, continuing this uptrend. Okay. After the break, very clearly see that imbalance was left behind. I was able to identify this fair value gap lining up with the discounted area as well as with these two bullish trader order blocks. Daily and 4-hour are both bullish on the trader graph, and the pullback so far has been very corrective as we can see, which is exactly what we want. Okay. And lastly, we have Solana, where I couldn't identify anything, and y'all see exactly why. So yeah, check this price action. Okay, yes, price is bullish, but right here I do not see a clear range that we could trade. Okay, but yeah, nonetheless, there's still a lot of opportunities that we have on all of our assets, on all of the assets that we went through today in the daily analysis. So yeah, that's why we always keep it simple. Okay, and on that note, we'll end today's crypto as well as the overall daily analysis right here. As always, I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you all on the dork side. Take care.